think the last time, Bear, the last class we had about 15 people all plugged in here, right? We're climbing on each other's laps. There were kids running around, and there was a lot going on. The phone was ringing.
Wow.
So the last time was our very first workshop, and today is the second one. So what we're doing is one of the things that we're dedicated to is educating all of our practice members. And what I have found is that education trumps everything else. The number one problem in our country today, people talk about healthcare, people talk about the war on drugs, and they talk about rising insurance premiums. The number one problem in our country right now is lack of information. It's stupidity, and it's lack of knowledge. So the more knowledge you have, the better you can make decisions. And that goes with anything in life, whether you're buying a car, whether you're looking to buy a new bed, whether you're choosing insurances. You need to have the information to make a proper decision. So one of the things that we're doing is we're implementing these spinal workshops. So, Bear, you've been here for a short time. Maria, you're back in the office relatively new. We didn't do this years back when you started. No. Richie, you're kind of in that newer end of the practice too. And what we have done is we're looking to implement these on a weekly basis. We're calling them Wellness Wednesdays. So every Wednesday is 30 minutes. It's simple. They're practical classes. Every week we're going to have a different topic. And we recommend coming to 2 within your first 3 weeks of being under care, and then 1 a month thereafter, just to keep yourself tuned up and to give you the information you need to stay informed. And when you're an electrician, you need to stay up on the new what? The new rules, right? There's new rules when it comes to things. And same thing in chiropractic care. When we're in business and I have my license, we have to have continuing education credits to make sure what? That we're taking care of people better. Same thing with you. You want to make sure you're protecting people better. So I want to thank you, the three of you, for being here. I actually like a more intimate group anyway. So Lauren, thank you for being here too. What I want to do is we have such a brief time together. We have 30 minutes together, and over the course of the next 30 minutes, we really have 2 different choices. As we can choose to kind of zone out and think about football coming up and our day that we just had, or we can really choose to engage in the information, engage in the learning process. And the next 30 minutes, we're all going to walk out of this office together. Myself, Lauren, you guys are all going to walk out at the same time. So how you choose to leave the office is really going to be up to you. Do you want to leave as a more empowered, enlightened, more knowledgeable person? Or do you want to kind of say, oh, that was a waste of 30 minutes. Why the hell did I do that? And I hope that's not the case, or else you wouldn't be here. We can ignore or we can empower is really what I'm getting at. So my prayer and hope for us today is that upon leaving, that we are more educated, that we are more knowledgeable about our health, and that when we're doing things between the time we wake up in the morning and the time we go to bed at night, maybe we make wiser choices about not just our spinal health, but maybe what we're putting in our mouths and in our bodies, what we choose to engage or not engage in terms of exercise and nutrition and stretching, all these types of things that will complement you to a healthier, more vibrant human being. And what I would ask you to do too is that the word doctor really means teacher. So I'm going to teach you information that I hope you hold on to. But what I would ask you to do is I'd ask you to pay it forward. And there are people that you know and friends that you know at work that are just ignorant. They don't know any different or better. So share with them. I can't tell you, I've met so many people in this office over the course of the last 6 years, and I'm grateful we're here 6 years. And there are people that I've met that weren't interested in learning about chiropractic, and they said, well, I don't believe in chiropractic care. Chiropractic care is not a belief system. It's a law. It's like gravity. If I don't believe in gravity, I don't float away, right? Or if I don't believe in electricity, does that change the fact that if I stick my finger in a socket, I'm still going to get zonked, right? It's a law. It exists, whether you like it or not. And the tenets of what we're going to go over today is really going to talk more about how to get well faster and to stay well longer. And we're going to begin the body of our talk now. Now, my goal at the conclusion of our 30 minutes is to teach you how to be less dependent upon me and more dependent upon you. Now, every person in this practice at some point or another has a decision to make, and they're going to say, do I want to continue with this, or do I want to stop and, see what happens? And that person always has a choice, right? Now, there are a lot of people in this office, and I'm grateful to say that once they start feeling better, they use us on a consistent basis anyway, because they recognize that once they feel better, they like that, and they want to stay there. And there are some other people that come into this practice that they feel better, they stop, and then when they hurt again, they come back 6 or 8 months later. And I can tell you, when they typically come back in, they're usually in worse shape than they were when they first found me. And listen, I'm not judging it one way or the other. It's completely fine. The door is always open. The phone will always ring for anyone. I'm willing to take care of anyone along their health journey or their engagement spectrum, more or less, right? But what I would ask you to do, just the more educated you are, the better decisions you can make in terms of your own health, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is what health is, right? So if I were to come in to your place of business or to your office or whatever it might be, and I would ask you I would give you $100 if you'd give me the proper answer as to what health is. So what would you say it is? You gotta define that. $100,000 question. What is it? What would you say it is?
Health.
What is health?
Health is feeling 100% great when you get up in the morning.
Health is feeling good.
I'm alive.
Right? I'm alive! Thank God!
Right, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, what's the movie? It's like Frankenstein, right? It's alive! Thank God. So most people, when we ask them what health is, the number one answer that we get is feeling good. And listen, it's great to feel good. I want to feel good. Lauren wants to feel good. We all want to feel good. But how you feel is only a very small part of how healthy you are. In fact, if we look into the nervous system, we find that only 12% of your nerves actually feel pain. So that means that there are 88% of the nerves in your body that are only for function and control. And if you have pain on the nerve, pressure on a nerve that feels pain, you're going to know it, right? You're going to feel it in your neck. You're going to see people that are trying to get up at work holding their back. That's pressure on a nerve that feels pain. But 88% of the nerves in your body, they don't feel any pain at all. So if we were to put pressure on that nerve, how would you know if it doesn't feel pain?
I never knew that.
You didn't know that, right? There you go. You learned one thing today. If there's one thing you're going to get from today,
I know I had a lot of nerves.
that's great. You got a lot of nerve.
Yeah.
88% of your nerves don't even feel pain. So what's an example of that? The nerves that control your lungs, they're responsible exclusively for function. How you breathe air in, how you expel air out. If there's pressure on the nerve that controls your lungs, you're not going to feel pain. What you're going to notice is what?
Function.
Dysfunction.
Yeah.
So the lungs aren't going to be able to process air properly in and expel air properly out. So my story, if you look behind you on the chart here, is what? I had severe asthma as a kid. And I did what most people do, as I was popping pills and taking inhalers to treat my symptoms, but it wasn't doing what? It never corrected the problem. And it wasn't until I got the pressure off of the nerve in my back or my spine, removed the subluxation, that my life was changed. So the first question is, what is health? Health is not just how you feel. Health is defined as a proper physical state, proper optimal state of physical, chemical, and emotional well-being. And it's not just how you feel. Health is how you are. Let's look a little more into that. And Lauren, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to get me an eraser, please.
Sure.
Let's look more into this word of feeling. Okay? Anyone ever had food poisoning before? You had a bad piece of fish, or you ever had food poisoning? Never, Richard?
Yeah, of course.
Really? How about you drank a little too much on like Memorial Day weekend or something? Ever happened to anybody?
I like raisin.
Okay, well let's look
had
at
a couple
that.
of drinks.
You had a toxin in your body, whether it's alcohol or salmonella, whatever it is. About 4 years ago, we did a patient appreciation dinner over at La Terraza. I had a bad piece of salmon. I got violently ill. So I didn't feel what? I didn't feel good. Right? But my body did what? It recognized the toxin and got it out. So is that a healthy or an unhealthy thing?
Healthy.
Healthy. But I didn't feel what? I didn't feel good. But the proper healthy thing happened. Okay? Let me give you another example. A few years ago, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Thankfully, they found it soon. They were able to fix it, and he's cancer-free, thank God. But did you know that cancer cells are growing in your body every day? And what happens is, in your immune system, you have what are called white blood cells. And they're like the bouncers of your body. And they look and see where the abnormal cells are that are defined as cancer cells, and they kill them off. And when the immune system works at a lower level, the white blood cells, they can't detect the cancer cells. And that's how cancer cells what's the word?
Proliferate.
Proliferate, right? And did you know you can have cancer cells growing in your body for up to 7 years before you feel anything, any symptoms? You could be walking around feeling great, and there could be an issue. You could be walking around feeling better than ever, and the next day discover a lump. Or maybe go for my dad went for a prostate exam and they found it.
Right.
So health is much, much, much more than how you feel.
Yeah, it's just
let me
like
get the, let me just get a,
It's right here,
Sorry.
actually.
Yeah, the erasers.
I put it up top next to the pamphlets.
It's just like people, you hear
Yeah,
about
this is like the
people
only
that
spot I can
are
put
in
it.
A1 condition all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like they died a month ago. What are you talking about? They died of cancer.
Well, watch the
They
board.
didn't know it was in their body.
yeah.
They
Well,
didn't know.
this time we'll do a better job with your erasers. All right, so
Use
we're
a
still
spray.
learning here, okay? So now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of what we call the body of the talk, all right? So health, think of your health. This is a very poor picture because our whiteboard isn't the greatest. Think of it like a wheel, okay? And when you have a wheel, right, it's got the spokes, right? A lot of different spokes here. So on one end, what would you say is one aspect of your health? What defines you in terms of your health? What is one aspect of it? Can we say it's physical health? Right, so the health and stability of your muscles, your tendons, and your ligaments, right? The second thing would be in terms of your blood chemistry, right? Your blood pressure, right? How many, we've all had a blood pressure check.
Mm-hmm.
Your blood sugar, you've had the test done to see, for guys, your prostate-specific antigen, for women, your hormonal levels when you
Right.
come to that age. There are a lot of different chemical markers that determine your health. How about number 3? Between your ears. Your mental
Mental.
stability. How engaged are you with developing the muscle between your ears? And your brain works like any other muscle in your body. The less you use it, the more it, what? What?
Atrophy.
Atrophies. Same thing with anything else. The more you use your brain, the better it gets. Number 4 would be your emotional stability. How you respond to stressful situations in life. I can tell you that I have a lot of family members, and I'm not sure if it's like an Italian thing or what, but everything is like a drama. A Jerry Springer, oh my God,
It's
type
the
of
Italian
drama. And that, right?
Yes.
Mr. Travellini over here can tell you all about it too. So your emotional stability has such an amazing relationship to your health as well. Did you know that when you're stressed, in terms of your emotional stability, it can decrease your immune responses by 30%. That's why stressed out people are more likely to get sick, right? The last stage of it is what's called your spiritual health, stability, and well-being. So when the wheel is properly structured and all the spokes are in their proper alignment, that leads to what's called a holistic being in terms of your health is concerned. Now, I can help you here with the physical end of things, right? Who's responsible for the other 4 things?
We are.
Yeah. So when we talk to newer patients in our office most recently, we say it's a 70-30 relationship. Guess who's responsible for the 70? You guys. And that's why we're doing these classes, to empower you between adjustments, between your visits in the office, to be much more proactive. The more proactive you are, the much better you're going to be able to do in the long run. Less dependent upon me, much more dependent upon you. All right? So what if we are only congruent in 4 of the areas, and we're riding our bike up and down Rockland Lake, and we're going around the lake? Are we going to have a stable, smooth ride, or a kind of a convoluted, unhealthy, unstable ride? That wheel going anywhere?
No, it's flat.
Maybe it goes around about a rotation or 2, right? What if we're good with our physical health, but we don't take care of our emotional stability and well-being? We don't really take care too much about our mental health. Same kind of
You're gonna
thing.
be able to ride a bike.
Yeah.
But it works very similar to having the proper electrical current lined up. So if I ground something and I put in the one wire, but I don't forget to do the other, I'm not getting power on my fan, right? It all has to be a holistic way of looking at things. All right, is everybody with me so far?
Yep.
Okay, so what are some other things in terms of getting well faster and staying well longer that we need to talk about and that we need to address? Right, so part of the physical recommendations, the first thing is going to be in terms of your stretches, okay? Second thing is going to be in terms of your strengthening activities and exercises. Now, before I can talk more about that, we need to understand when these things are appropriate. And I can tell you that with most people that I see in the practice, they will do these things when they're sitting at their desk and they're starting to feel what?
Tightness.
Tightness. What else? Pain or burning. So I see this a lot of times in ergonomic work settings where people stand up and they start doing this. That is what we call a reactive measure to address a problem. Right? It's almost like if you have a headache, you want to take a pill or you want to put a rub on it. Right? That's a reactive way of looking at things. Proactively would be what? Is you do these things religiously on a proactive basis.
Before it comes to that point.
Before it becomes to that point. Right? Who here brushes their teeth? Yeah? Who here shaves? Right? Whether it's your legs, whether it's your beard. Okay, who here gets manicures and pedicures? Richie, come on, no. All right, who gets haircuts? Right? Okay, that is what? That maintenance. That's what you do. You change the oil in your car, you rotate your tires, you upkeep your property, you pull weeds at your home like I'm going to do tomorrow. These are all things you do to make sure your body is doing the right things from an outside perspective. You don't shave when your beard is down to here. You shave because it's an important part of everyday life. Right? You don't just brush your teeth when you have a toothache, I hope. I hope you don't do that. Right? You do it every day. How many times? A lot of times three times a day, twice a day. It's an important part of dental hygiene.
To have a toothbrush at work?
Exactly. So look at this. When it comes to your stretches, when it comes to your strengthening exercises, these are part of your spinal hygiene. So how do you get well faster? How do you stay well longer? It's by engaging the 4 other aspects of your health, as well as consistently implementing the physical recommendations. It's really, really, really simple. Okay? So, typically, we can help with other recommendations. If you have a question about nutrition, if you have a question about spirituality, if you have a question about mental health and stability, maybe we'll have some Sudoku puzzles here in the waiting room a couple times to feed your brain. So if you have questions about those things, ask us. We're happy to give recommendations. Now, am I going to try to sell you on stuff? That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to do anything like that. I'm here to support you to your best health and your best well-being. Okay?
I'm going to just tell you, I'm working on a puzzle. I love post-grad puzzles, but a real puzzle.
Yeah.
It's driving me crazy because I can't get the border. I don't know what happened to the other pieces, but every night I look through 1,000 pieces to find the border. But I'm also doing Luminosity, it's called.
Luminosity,
yeah.
That's the website.
Oh
Great
my God, it's hard.
Yeah, I know. I've heard about it. I hear it's a great thing
but
too.
But it is so much fun too. And like they go, Maria, you're getting too good at this. We're gonna have to make it a little harder for you.
It's such a great recommendation.
Right.
We talked about before. When you leave here in the next 15 to 20 minutes, what can you do to empower yourself? And one of the things that Lauren and I work with every week in the practice as far as running the business from an administrative standpoint is we just pick one thing.
Mm-hmm.
1 week we're going to work on getting a better eraser for our whiteboard. So what's the one thing you can pull out of tonight? Maybe you didn't like what I said about spirituality, but maybe you got a good recommendation from Maria. I would challenge you to pick one thing, and between now and next Wednesday's workshop, which is going to be a great one, by the way, because next Wednesday is my birthday. So if you want to give me a birthday gift,
day?
Next Wednesday, come back next week.
Wednesday is your
and
birthday?
next Wednesday. And
28th.
bring a guest with you. That'll be a great birthday present for me. So we've gone through our introduction and we've gone through the body. So just pick one thing that you like, and I would challenge you to implement it over the next 7 days. So we're going to move on to our close. We're going to finish up. I'm going to be respectful of your time.
10 minutes.
We're going to be ending at precisely 30 minutes because that's my goal. Now, last week, Bear, when you were here, when we talked about our close, I talked about my story, about why I became a chiropractor. So it'd be very easy for me to go through week to week and tell the same stupid story over and over again, and maybe in 6 weeks, Bear will tell the story. So I'm not going to talk about that today. My story is here on the board when you guys are waiting.
Realize that was you.
And that's actually me.
I read it.
I didn't read the whole thing.
Yeah,
There's
that's
so much
me.
to read.
Yeah, that's me.
I didn't even read that.
And my wife's story is behind you on this board.
Oh,
But
okay.
the reasons why we share these testimonials is to help you think a little bit differently in terms of your health. Our society is so so sick and diseased. We really are. We rank 37th in the world in terms of the health of our citizens, and we spend more money per capita than any other country in the world. We represent 10% of the world's population. We consume 90% of the drugs in the world. Now, if drugs made you healthy, look, I'm okay with it. You know, if we're number one in health, that's fine. But we're not. We're a sick society. The infant mortality rate in this country is astronomical. Babies born into the country, we rank 39th in terms of infants surviving. It's safer to have a baby in Libya, in like the third world country, than it is in the United States. We have the best doctors, the best schools. That's not okay with me. So these classes are done to help empower you to think a little bit differently. When I was first in practice, I had an extremely important lesson that walked through my front door. And I remember being brand new in the office, and when the phone rang, it was like amazing. And holy crap, my phone actually rang. And it was just me and Chrissy, my wife, and I'm not sure if you met her yet.
No,
I didn't have a front desk staff. It was just the two of us. And when I was the chiropractor, she was working at the front desk, and when she was a chiropractor, I was working at the front desk.
Right.
So we did an advertisement in a local newspaper, and a woman called, and she came into the practice, and she's sitting down, she's filling out her paperwork, like you guys did when you first started, right? And she comes into the exam room, and her name was, her name just escaped me. Her name was, how come I just missed it in my head? I can't
Just
remember.
say Anna.
No, her name was Iris. Was her name?
Iris.
My daughter's
Nice
name.
name. I love
It's a
that
beautiful
name.
name, by the way.
Iris.
Iris.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just forgot it. So when Iris came in, she sits in the exam room, and I said, "Well, how can I help you?" And I'm thinking she's going to tell me what. Oh, I got a neck thing, I got a headache, I got my back's hurting down to my leg, and she pulls her chair up in front of me, and she said, she's like, "I can't drive." And I'm thinking, well, the DMV is like right up on 9W Hamstring. I don't know what you're doing here. And I started talking to her more. I said, "Well, what do you mean you can't drive?" And she was a little old Spanish woman, about 74 years old. And she said, "I can't drive because every time I put my hands on the wheel, I get dizzy. And I feel like I'm going to pull off to the side of the road," which is scary, going up and down the thruway. And I come to find out that she was still working 3 days a week in the Bronx, and she lives in Haverstraw. And it had gotten so bad that she had to pull over on the thruway, puke out of the side of the car, and keep going. So when she was here, she was telling me that she stopped driving, and her sister had a driver from Haverstraw to the Bronx, and then pick her up at night. So you can imagine them bickering in the car with two Latin females, getting really at each other. And she said, I want to be able to drive again. I haven't driven a car in 4 years. So, this is one of my first brand new patients. So talk about like a tall order, right? You can imagine how nervous I was talking about it. So what I said to her was, I said, "Listen, I don't know if you're in the right place. The first thing we need to do is we need to do an exam to see if you have any pressure on the nerves in your neck or in your spine. We're going to look for what? Looking for a subluxation. That's what we're looking for." So we did our scan in the back, just like you had a scan when you first started, right, Richie, you too. And we found a big red line at her neck. The nerve here controls your equilibrium and your balance. So I said to her, "Listen, I can't guarantee I'm going to help you drive again, but I know if we can get the pressure off of that nerve, miracles can happen," right? So she's under care for 1 week. She's under care for 2 weeks. She's coming in 3 times a week. We actually hired a front desk staff. The office is growing. And I was in the back room with another patient, and I hear her walk in the door, jiggling her car keys. So I was so excited to come up and talk to her. And I came up to the front room, and she was sitting right where Richie's sitting. And she's got her arms crossed, and she's got a scowl on her face. So I'm coming up front thinking she's going to be excited, and she's going to hug me and kiss me and refer, all the people that live in her neighborhood to the office. And she was sitting there, and she had her arms crossed and a scowl on her face. And I came up to her, and I said, "Iris, we should talk in the room." And I said, "What's up?" I said, what's going on?" And she said to me, she's like, "I'm really pissed off." I'm thinking, okay, this is not what I was expecting. And I kind of curled up to her, and we sat knee to knee, and I said, "Well, tell me what's going on. Fill me in." And she said, "I'm really pissed off that I didn't find this office sooner." And that really hit me. And that telling the story today, it still gives me chills, because I started thinking about how many people we know that don't know what we know. right? I didn't know when I was a kid, and I wish I did. My childhood would have been completely different. And it wasn't until someone did what?
Told you.
Told me. And same thing with Iris. She happened to see an advertisement, and a friend said, listen,
Go try it.
go in, try it. And we changed this woman's life. She was able to drive back and forth to work, and she was able to make more money. And she had a much better relationship with her sister. So that's the point of these workshops and these spinal workshops, is to empower you. When you leave the office, think about what you can do different for you, or what you can do different for somebody else too. So that's our workshop for today. I think it's gone much better than last time. I know, Bear, and I hope you would agree. So what I would do is your engagement sheets in front of you. I want you to give them to Lauren. We're going to keep them on your file. If you have people that you know you want to reach out to, you want us to reach out to and help, list their names on the bottom. If you want us to pray for them, we will. If you want us to send them a letter, we will. If you want us to do nothing and throw in the trash, that's okay too. But I hope that this class has been beneficial to everybody. I know it's been beneficial to me. I want to thank you for coming.
Well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah. You guys still got 4 minutes if you want to answer questions.
We got 4 more
4 minutes left. I told you we're going to be prompt. Okay, yeah. Let's. Any questions?
No, I came back. I was coming to you for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Then I felt good, but then I got sick, which you didn't know about.
I didn't know. Yeah.
For the past over 2 years, I had cancer, and then I got sick with my lungs.
Yeah.
And like you said, I didn't know anything was
Do
wrong
nothing.
with me.
Yeah.
I was fine. I
And
went
we
to
met.
work
Do you remember where we met?
at Spring Valley.
We met at the Pearl River Library
Oh,
with
when you had to work.
with the workshop
Workshop,
with
that's right.
Carrie Burnett.
Right, at Pearl River. No, I was the ladies.
Yeah.
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 I was vice president.
And that was in 2008.
Right. 8.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. But then you came to my office
Yeah.
and did a workshop by Spring Valley.
Yeah. And the first time we got snowed out, I remember.
Oh yeah. But it's good. Well, like you said, you never know. I went to work. I didn't feel good. My boss said, I think you should go to the doctor. I go, "Yeah, I'm going to go home, take 2 aspirin." And if I did, probably would have never made it.
Yeah, I mean,
I had
think
pneumonia.
about
Didn't
that.
know it.
And we talked about this, Richie, when you started, Innovate, when you started, is that when you have a symptom, we are so trained to reach for the pill. I want to feel good. And once I feel good, that must mean I'm cured. And that is the problem, is that we are such a reactive society. It doesn't create health. You know what it creates? It creates customers. It creates dependence on medication and outside source. Health only comes from within. That's the only place your body heals. You know, when you heal from cancer. you heal
But my
from within.
immune system was, wasn't good.
Yeah,
But I didn't come to you because, so it's 3 years actually.
I hear you.
Because,
Well, you're back now, and we're grateful.
I'm back now and I'm happy.
So I'll tell you what,
Hopefully I'll be
the
back to
engagement
where I
spectrums
was.
in front of you, if you wouldn't mind giving them to Lauren.
These are these, right?
Yeah, the engagement spectrum. You're going to put a P where you are presently, put an F where you want to be in the future.
And this one, what about?
That's the, that goes along with this.
We keep this.
Yeah, keep that. And the health workshops, we have a list of them in front of you.
Now I'm gonna come to all of them.
Now remember, that's what I want to hear.
Awesome.
The
I already
recommendations,
changed all my
the
things around.
The
Nice.
recommendations are going to be at 2 within the first 3 weeks of care, once a month thereafter. So we're not going to ask you to come to 3 a week. That's not the point of this. It's designed to supplement your adjustments. So if you can get to 1 a month, invest 30 minutes of your time. You know, I do these for you. You know, I mean, I do them for me too, but I really do them for you as a service. We're not going to ask you to pay extra money to come here. It's just a part of our service to you. All right, I'll let you do those with Lauren, and I want to thank you guys for being here. Good one.